I put my trust in you, and I trust in our love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love. I put my trust in you, and I trust in our love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love.
Hello, friends. My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain, and we are your fuck buddies.
We are a dating and sex advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations, turn them into sexy, sticky situations.
Simply put, we find questions either on the topics of sex and dating, or both, and we answer them right here, right now, every Monday, and also on Patreon, and also on stage occasionally. Occasionally.
Oh God, I'm worried.
Yeah, we all are. That's just our constant existence.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying is like we're recording this. Niall is we've batch recorded a bunch of stuff.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about this on the walk down. I was like, it's going to be really weird when in 2 weeks a nuke wipes Canada off the map.
Yeah.
And then we're like, this week we're sponsored by Jerkmate Ranked,
Yeah.
which we are.
I wish. I was just like, we're batch recording these because Niall's going away and we had a bunch of scheduling things the week prior. So we're like, let's record a bunch of stuff so that we have it and don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, every week something absolutely fucking insane happens. And
People are going to be like, these assholes just ignored that.
yeah.
We sank Greenland and they don't care.
We're not talking about it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in case you're like, oh, these guys seem weirdly chipper for having been killed, it's because we're alive now.
We're doing okay now. Well, we're here now. We are present. We exist right now.
Brace yourself as the first season of Jerkmate Ranked comes to an end. Many of you achieved great things during these few weeks. From bronze beaters to celestial coomer, Jerky couldn't be prouder of the soldiers who answered his call. Each took their fate and something else firmly into their own hands, for the better. They represent a whole generation of stroking soldiers, already preparing for the upcoming, and you know how it's spelled, Chapter 2. Jerkmate Ranked is more than an internet trend. It's a magnificent banner to rally behind. All jerkers, fappers, wankers, gooners, edgers, and meat beaters worldwide are united in one army. If you have not received your uniform, check out your Jerkmate Ranked merch now. And if you cannot contain yourself and wait for the return of Jerkmate Ranked game, those words have lost all meaning to me now. Check out our many others. May the nuts be with you.
The idea that someone would spend their hard-earned money on a Jerkmate Ranked outfit.
Also a Shopify that does not work. And while we're here, let's say fuck Shopify.
It's I like the idea that like someone would be like, yes, I would like to pay any amount of money,
and then even worse, to wear it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like maybe it's really comfy, like a micro modal.
It would have to be like you'd have to make someone buy it as a joke, but then they're like, shit,
this is so
this
comfy.
feels so good.
Yeah. And like, look, if you're in pajama pants that were like Jerkmate sponsored and they were real comfy.
Are you trying to give me a clue? Because you're in pajama pants right now.
Yeah, but these, you could tell that these are not Jerkmate. They're okay.
Kind of comfy.
They're nice. No, they're comfy. They're comfy. But what I'm saying is I wouldn't be upset, or like the only way I wouldn't be upset is if I got Jerkmate and they were the comfiest pants ever. Then I'd be like, I don't care what these are. I would wear
pajama pants. I think are fine. Most people don't see them.
Yeah.
It would be weird though if you took someone home and then hooked up with them and then like put on your thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh God.
I mean, there's also been times where like I've hooked up with someone and then I'm like, do you want to like hang out and watch a movie? And like, yeah, it's like, well, if you want, like I have comfy pants in there so you don't have to like put your jeans back on or your fucking like leather pants that you wore to our date. And imagine they just
it's all Jerkmate branded.
It's like a Tony Stark sort of like Iron Man-esque like
it like folds out.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's just like all the various Jerkmate.
See, like the worst part is the steam, the colored steam that comes out, and it's saying "ready to jerk."
Yeah,
it's weird that you spent all of our podcast money on installing that. It's
Look,
also weird that it was that cheap.
Yeah. Now, maybe this is a lax in my professional life.
No, we would never.
In the sense that I don't know what Jerkmate Ranked is.
I also don't. I tried to figure it out, and all I could really get was that. And then I left it there because I thought it was funny enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
like, is it like...
I believe you get, like, points. It's, like, ranked in, like, Rivals or whatever, where, like, I don't know how you gain points, and I'm terrified to imagine.
That's my thing. Is
I assume it's just you using Jerkmate more?
Right, but like, surely you could just leave the browser open. This is a very particular...
Power gaming.
A particular, lifestyle that you live in which you could just leave a porn site.
If you were, say, an Elon Musk level of sadness.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it does seem like it's really based on the honor system.
That's good for them. That's the thing. They don't care if you've cheated your way to Celestial Gooner. But
I'm just saying my achievements could feel tainted if I know that I'm sharing the Celestial Gooner slot with
But
someone
you know you're the real Gooner.
Yeah, it's true.
So
I guess that's it, right? Like, you're not competing against each other. It's a personal ranking.
Yeah. Well, a lot of rock climbing competitions, at least in the lower ends, they do a lot of like, you're like, I climbed this in this amount of attempts and you gotta trust me. So really, rock climbing is just jerkmate ranked.
That's why you're always like, go rock climbing.
That's why my hands are so calloused.
I'm going to go rock climbing. I want to get a quick climb in.
Yeah, I got to put my hand on some jugs and feel a real nice sense of achievement.
Is that what they're called? Jugs?
Jugs are a certain type of hold, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
So this week we're going to talk about husband shits himself, says it's no big deal.
Should I stay or should I go?
Boyfriend gives me silent treatment after fight, not even talking, and even uses eye roll emoji. I find it annoying, immature, and rude.
Doing the bare minimum.
Hell yeah. Husband got promoted at work, not paid promotion, mostly pro bono, but he says could lead to higher paid position. Anyway, he's tired all the time with all these extra duties at work, so he's been less consistent with his hygiene. He has stopped showering as often. His diet is awful. He will not touch a vegetable. He eats a lot of gas station food and a lot of fast food. It used to be he'd have really bad gas, like curl your hair bad, open every window in the house, and wait outside for it to dissipate bad. He started taking pills for it, and that helped. But lately when I do the laundry, I've been noticing huge stains in his underwear. It's so disgusting. It smells awful. Sometimes I can smell it when he just walks around the house or if he sits on something. So I stopped doing it. I told him it was unacceptable and foul. And he's been sleeping on the couch for 2 months. He doesn't care about showering, doesn't seem to care about his smell, tries to guilt me about not sleeping in the bed. But I tell him it's his fault if he would just shower when he gets home. I tried to explain how unsanitary it is. I told him I'm lonely from lack of intimacy and not being able to share a bed or space with him. I offered to go to the doctor with him, asked if he was feeling depressed, asked if he would try therapy or counseling. I tried to get him to use a bidet. Asking if I could help with his paperwork or anything so he'd feel less burdened. He just brushed me off. He's insisting I'm overreacting. It is normal for grown men to have skid marks. He's blaming me for shutting him out, but I physically feel sick when I catch a whiff of him sometimes. The nail in the coffin was he told me, sometimes when I fart, I press my underwear against my butt to check and see if it feels wet. I told him that was it. I was done. The line's been drawn and crossed. I told him I don't see how we can be intimate again because I'm so disgusted. I mean, seriously, it's so childish. I can't believe it's happening to me. I'm too embarrassed to tell anyone inside my home about this, so I'm venting to you here. I feel like it's not real life, but I'm lost over this. I care for him. I don't want to leave him. He's my husband. We've built a life together, and I can tell he's struggling with something. But he makes absolutely no effort to fix the issue, and it's affecting both of us. It's not really fair to me. How long am I supposed to wait while this continues? I don't want to go home half the time because the smell hits as soon as I walk through the door. The worst part is him gaslighting me about it. So I'm imagining things. That doesn't smell as bad as I think. That I'm making out to be a big deal when it's not. Normally, he's very receptive to my feelings, but lately he's just been so defensive. We've been married 8 years. It's crazy things can change so suddenly. Seems like he has stopped trying altogether, and I have heard that depression can do this to people, but he doesn't seem to be in bad spirits, just a little more tired than usual.
Was this man hit by lightning?
And given the worst superpower?
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like what could like maybe he got hit in the head somewhere and like it just completely changed his brain chemistry.
Does he have a brain tumor?
That's like that. I think out of everything is like the most important thing because at first I was kind of bummed by the question. I mean, I'm still incredibly bummed by the question.
Yeah.
But her just being like, he's doing this, he's doing that. But she does like mention like, oh, I was worried that he was depressed. I was worried about this. And like, those are all valid things. Like, those are all the things I was going to talk about. Be like, maybe this man is like incredibly depressed. Maybe something, you know what I mean? But to like double down on like, it's not that bad. This is normal. This is fine.
Well, I'm going to throw a little bit more spice in the pot here.
Okay.
We have an update. I reached out to his father. It's the only family he has. I told him I was really worried about his son. If he could check on him and call him, I said he may need to go to the doctor, but he is resisting. His dad asked for details, so I told him what was going on. He was baffled and said I was making a huge deal about nothing, that he couldn't believe I was making him sleep on the couch over that. It was very harsh. I ended up getting off the phone feeling terrible. He was absolutely no help. So the dad's like, yeah, it's normal.
Yeah.
Shit Pants Steve? That's why they call me that.
Yeah.
And he's Shit Pants Steve Jr.
We are a proud family
fam.
of shitting ourselves. So, okay, look, it's crazy that this started all at once, right? Like this is not, in my opinion, behavior that is adopted late in life, unless it's a medical thing,
I guess.
right?
I don't know.
But the fact that you've gone from like, you know, a functioning person to being like, I only eat gas station food, and I
it seems like that's been going on for a while. Like the gas and the bad diet has been going on prior to this.
I got the sense that like once the job started, that's when his shit diet changed. It sounded like
it's unclear, but the gas for sure has been happening for a while, and I imagine that is kind of like
indicative
because of gas station food, and like that sucks.
Yeah,
my tummy feels bad thinking about that.
Yeah. So it's like these are all sort of like things that all seem to coincide with this new job. So it's obviously related to that somehow. But at the end of the day, this is a grown man who needs to take responsibility for things, right? Either personal hygiene or just like doubling down and being like, this is the life I want to live.
I want to be a poopy boy.
And then acknowledge the fact that like, if you can't come to terms with the idea of being like, oh, you don't want to be married to a grown man who shits himself on a daily basis, then like if that
willingly,
if that boggles his mind, then like I know you say that like, oh, you love him, and it's like I understand that can be difficult, but like the life you're living is not a good one. You are lonely. You say that you like
smells like shit all the time,
and you say that like, oh, having this person is important to you, but you don't have them.
No,
you don't want to go home. You don't sleep with each other. You're not having sex. You spend as little time as possible with them. So like, what really is the difference than like just cutting
your
it
only
off?
interaction is like the lingering scent of him on the couch cushions.
Yeah. That's bad.
It's like, oh, he got the 7-Eleven like hot dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible.
Gross.
So you do say at the start he got this new promotion, kind of, but it's pro bono, but he's hoping it will lead to an actual like promotion.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen when he smells like shit. No one's going to want to hire shit boy.
I guess it depends on what he does.
Unless he works in the shit factory and they're like, damn, he's really adopted company culture.
Or it's like he goes out to like remote areas and like repairs electric boxes.
If it's like his only interaction is like on the phone while he drives from place to place and shits himself, sure. But like no.
I've got to imagine that whatever he does is an outdoor or like isolated thing.
That's just really bold of you to imagine, because I would also imagine that he wouldn't be doing this in general. And here we are.
So yeah, honestly, I would lay it down. We're not fans of ultimatums, but in things like
there are times and places like, hey, if you don't stop shitting yourself and not caring and being dismissive and rude of my feelings and your own hygiene, maybe we gotta, have a chat.
And I think you do. I do think, I know Niall said it kind of flippantly at the beginning, but like a brain tumor would.
Well, I'm like genuinely, it's either like this is some kind of like weird toxic masculinity thing that his family has like drilled into his head. And like, sadly, this is not the only time we've gotten a question like this. A lot of men seem to think that it's their God-given right to wallow in their own shit and not clean their butt.
Yeah.
So it's either that or it is a medical condition of some description, be it depression. Is he staging a dirty protest against the Trump administration?
Something tells me no.
So you need to have a chat with him, and you need to lay out very clearly your concerns in a way that's like, I don't want you to be like aggressive, but I also don't want you to be not agree. You know what I mean? Like you need to be in no uncertain terms. You need to be like, look,
firm and direct.
You don't get to tell me where my tolerance for how stinky you are is. But the facts remain that there's like actual like visible levels of shit in your pants every day. There is a stink when you sit down on things. Our whole home smells like I wouldn't invite friends over. I'm asking you to do this. You don't care what I'm saying. I'm worried about you and you don't care about that either. And just like lay it out and be like, look, is showering and like maybe eating a little better too much? Is that it? Is that like a step too far for you in this relationship?
Is that too much to do for me? Like all I'm asking you is basic levels of personal hygiene.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to like go get your manicure done or pedicure.
5-step Korean skin routine every evening.
All I'm asking you is to and like him acknowledging and being like, oh, when I fart, I do a little like spot test. It's like if you've gotten to the point where
every fart is a danger,
and also that you don't know, like if I shit my pants, I would know if I shit my pants.
How do you know?
Because I do the spot test. Right. Like I feel like if that's a part of your daily life, if that is your routine of being like, I farted.
Also, wait, what happens next? Because clearly you don't seem to mind that you have pooping yourself.
I don't know. This is.
Do you just go, dang, keep going, or do you go nice and keep going? Like, because it's happening.
Yeah.
So I think you just gotta lay it down and be like, look, we are a partnership. We are a team. Again, is this too much for me to ask? Because if it is, what isn't? You know what I mean? What is something you'll do for me? Because this is the bare fucking minimum, and it's obscene to me that you don't care.
Yeah.
And like, look, if he does have some medical thing, it sucks to leave him in the midst of this. But if you've tried all you can try, you're not like honor bound to suffer because he won't fucking get help. Because it might not be a medical thing either. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's like you can only do what you can do to a point. And if everything you've done hasn't worked and you get to a point where you need to move on, you need to move on. You can't stay just in case in the future it turns out it was a thing. If he won't accept help, you have to help yourself.
100%.
You know?
Yep. Yeah. You got to protect your peace. And again, it's like you're set on being like, I want him, you know, I love him, but like you aren't doing it right now. He doesn't exist in your life because you want to avoid him at every possible turn. So like you already lost him.
Yes.
And if he refuses to work with you, then like you're not getting him back.
Yeah.
Right. So at what point in time do you either have to diminish yourself or just live in misery forever? Like that's not fair to you either. And I understand that like it's tough to watch someone that you care about decline, but you shouldn't have to, you know, go down with the ship.
For sure. Like, what's your other option?
Just become a stinky girl.
Shit yourself more.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe you just shit yourself more. And then when he complains, be like, ha!
Yeah.
Unless he's into it.
He could be into it. This comes from Phoenix of Radiance. Stay the full first date or walk out. I went on a first date a while back and wasn't really feeling much of a connection, but I stayed for the expected time period to give them a chance, and just because I thought it was polite. When I said I wasn't interested in pursuing it further, they implied I should have just walked out at the start of the date or the moment I wasn't feeling the connection, which surprises me because I would personally think that's rude. But I guess if you're on the app and go on enough dates, you'd prefer to save time over politeness. I think I'm going to ask people early in the conversation which they'd prefer, and if no preference is given, I'll just stay the expected time period, as I'd prefer getting a good sense of the person, but I still wanted to post this to hear perspectives of other people.
Are they asking everyone, or are they just asking people it's not working out with? They're like, hey, so this isn't working out. Would you like me to stay for an hour and pretend, or would you like me to leave? Because if you actually haven't made your mind up, I'm like, hey, if this doesn't go well, would you like me to leave right now or stay? Like, that's setting such a weird tone at the start of the date because you're never going to know going forward with that date whether they're saying it because they don't want it to go forward.
This is not something you can ask a person.
No, it's not.
Regardless of like how polite you think you're being or how respectful you're being about someone's time, like the idea of like starting your date, being like, hey, if one of us isn't vibing on this date, should we just leave? You put that in someone's mind. You're essentially incepting that this is going to be a bad date and that they should leave.
Yeah. Or that you already decided and you're kind of trying to figure out if you should just walk out right now. And if they don't say, walk out right now, they're going to question the entire next hour. Also, what is the set amount of time? That's the best thing for me. It's as if you're like, oh, I looked up the chart and the chart said 85 minutes.
Yeah.
What is the set amount of time? Is it an hour?
I guess it's just like until the conversation closes.
I don't know. They said the set, not a set. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
or I guess like, you know, if you're going for coffee, it's like when your coffee is done,
sure,
it is done.
Yeah.
If you're going for dinner, once the dinner is done, it's
I think this person has overstated the importance of what this person said in a bitter moment, right?
Yes.
They were like, oh, you should have just fucking left. Did they mean that? Probably not. Maybe in hindsight, now knowing how it went down. But like, if you just walked out, do you think they would have been like, oh, great.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's good for me. No, they'd be miserable either way. They're in a highly charged situation. They're feeling emotional. They kind of just were like, hey, you should have just fucking done that. And I get it.
A lot of people, when they're embarrassed, return fire at someone or the person doing the embarrassing, right? Like, so you rejected this person, which is always a shitty situation.
Yeah.
Like, it never feels good,
No.
regardless of how, like, unimportant it may actually be in the long run. You're always like, the sting of rejection is always there. So, like, this person, as Niall said, reacted to that embarrassment in the way of being like, well, it's your fault. You should have done that.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I need to make you feel bad situation. So, like, I wouldn't take anything said in a moment of rejection as truth.
Yeah.
Right? Because...
And even if you wanted to, that just might be that person's opinion, not everybody's, right? So...
I cannot imagine it ever being okay to, like, just
dip
walk out
immediately.
That being said...
Unless you're unsafe or...
Yes,
you know.
I have done that where... I called a date almost immediately because they were really shitty to the bartender. And that for me is like, that's a hard red flag.
Oh,
that's
for sure. It's
that's
like,
a line. I'm not going to entertain you knowing that
you
like,
suck.
And it's like, I'm not going to be at a bar that I like and a bartender that I like and
support, me hanging out with you is me supporting you in a way, right? Like if you do something shitty and I'm like, oh well, I'll put up with it.
Yeah, well, she's hot,
signaling that it's cool to everybody else that this is happening, and it's not. I've never had to end a date like immediately, which is great. I have had to end a date after like, let's say 30 to 40 minutes, which is still sizable enough. But like, I don't know what the fuck happened. Went out with this girl. We had like a beer, maybe two, and she was blackout. Like we literally were going from one bar to the other, and she like couldn't walk all of a sudden. I was like, Jesus, are you good? And she was just done. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how are you this fucked up? Like, is it a medical issue? Did you have 9 beers before you came here? Because she seemed fine. So like, I was like, I'm not going to continue this date because you're so drunk. Like I cannot hang out with you. I was like, I can take you home. And she was like, it's fine. I'll get an Uber. And I was like, I don't even know if I should put you in an Uber this drunk. But it was like 7 p.m. So I was like, okay. And then she pulled out her fucking purse and spilled it all over the road. And I was like, oh God. So like, I'm like grabbing all this stuff. The Uber driver pulls up. He's out grabbing all her stuff. She's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, this is the worst date. It's not the worst date I've been on, but it's one of them. And she was like, we should do this again. And I was like, how about no?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's only been like 1 or 2 that I pulled the plug on like early. Mm-hmm. There have been some where like they've suggested either like going back to their place or like changing locations. Like, oh, got work in the morning.
Yeah,
yikes.
So like, I think if you are like, if you think you're in danger, if you think if you're like massively offended, like if they cross a line or like, well, look, whatever. If you walk in and you see them and you don't like the way they look and you walk out, do I think you're a particularly nice person? Probably not. But like, does it really matter? Is it better than you wasting their time? I think it comes down to what you're more comfortable with. And the fact that you're saying, if they want me to leave, I'll leave. But if not, I will stay X amount of time means that's what you want to do. So stay the X amount of time. If someone says you should have just fucking left, like, I don't know. I think 1, you're giving them a chance. And 2, you're kind of doing something nice for them.
That's it. I've been on dates where like I haven't vibed with them right off the bat. Mm-hmm. And I've been like, okay, well, like I guess
you're sitting there that first 20 minutes being like, God damn.
Yeah, and you're just like, but then like once presumably the nerves have worn off, or you know, like a couple drinks get into you and you sort of relax and loosen up, and then it's like, oh, you're actually like, I like, this is the person I was talking to. This is the person I asked out on a date. Yeah, you just
are awkward. First
you're awkward
minutes,
or nervous or whatever, and which is like a totally fair thing. So I think pulling the plug that early is a bad idea anyway, because I've been on plenty of dates where I haven't really vibed with the person until like the second half of it or whatever, right? Like once the sort of like nerves have washed off and the barriers have come down a little bit and be like, oh, cool. Like I find this version of you way more attractive than the initial weird, awkward version. And like, it makes sense.
Now, I will say, caveat, we're speaking from a guy's perspective where if we stay or leave or whatever, there's not too much of a difference in the way that men usually pay for these first dates. So you as I think this is a woman, the question asker?
The question asker, I don't know if it's, no, it doesn't say.
Okay. I'm just assuming for reasons unknown. But I think the added bitterness could be like, if you've decided you don't want to be here, but you stay for an hour and you get like food and drinks and then they pay for it. And then you say, I don't want to do this. So I think maybe a nice thing to do in that case would be if you're checked out, get your own bill.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a very nice thing to do. I don't think there's any reason a man should ever have to pay for you ever. But especially if you've decided you don't want to go further with this, I think just pay your own bill.
And this is why also your first date should be a low cost thing, because there isn't that much of a burden.
Yeah.
And it's not a big deal if you take your bill. Yeah. You also shouldn't be going somewhere that you couldn't pay your own bill, in my opinion.
Yeah, no. Like, so I think that is just a kindness thing. And also it'll maybe alleviate some of that, like, you should just fucking left anger. If someone's going to feel a little shitty, if you know you didn't want to do it, but you're happy to accept their money, it does feel a little usy, right? So maybe just take your bill.
Yeah.
And I think that's just being a nice person.
Either way, I think we're all so fucking busy that if you've decided to carve out some time for a date, you see the date to the end.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to change, right? And unless, my big thing is, if you walk in and their pictures, if they've lied about their pictures, whether they've used old ones and they are, significantly heavier or older or whatever, like they just aren't the person they've...
Sure.
I think that is okay, where it's just been like, you lied to me about something that is very obvious immediately. And I don't feel comfortable doing this. Like I've 180'd out of a bar once because of that. Because
it was me pretending to be someone just so we could hang out.
It was just Niall in a blonde wig.
Yeah, I just really wanted to hang out. It's been a while.
I walked in and it was like the person, like I knew that was her, but it was her, you know, at least 10 or 15 years older, right? Like, and I'm just like, this sucks. Like already, I don't know what you could do to walk back that.
Well, that's
and
the
it's
thing.
just like
You've been
I'm not
lied to, right?
Yeah,
you know
like
I mean?
I'm not going to entertain this.
If
and
you showed up
this.
and they were like, you were like, oh, so like, how was work at the vet office or whatever today? And they were like, oh, I lied, I'm a this.
Yeah.
Oh, I lied, I'm this. Oh, don't worry, I'm actually a Republican. Oh, I'm blah blah blah. Oh, like if they're just lying to you, yeah, sure. And that's the thing. I feel like if you want to leave, you should just leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think if you want to leave, you have to be like, shit, I got to wait the whole day out. No. But I also think if you're willing to give it a chance, you don't have to just leave.
Yeah.
It is totally up to you. Obviously, do it as safely and kindly as you can, right? There's no, you don't want to put yourself in danger. And I also think unless they've done something heinous, you also don't want to just upset them or be mean or whatever. But there is no like one size fits all, because that way lies suffering. You know what I mean? And not everybody is going to be on the same page either. So we can't just tell you everybody wants you to leave, right? Yeah. I do think maybe if you finish the date, you don't say, oh, I knew from the second I walked in I wasn't going to do it, but I stayed just to make you feel better.
100%.
That's not the way to go. You know what I mean? Yeah. We like honesty, but sometimes you don't need that much honesty. You can just be like, oh, sorry, it's not working out, because it isn't. Yeah. You know what I mean? You don't just be like, the second I saw you, I was done, but I waited an hour and 25 minutes because that's what
I'm
you
nice.
Do. Yeah. No, don't say that. Just be like, hey, I'm sorry, I just didn't feel it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're good.
And you can always do it over text if you don't feel safe doing it in person.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, oh, don't break up with people over text. That's for like relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
not for like, oh, I met this dude
I think it's very kind to, on the next day, be like, hey, thank you for, the date last night. Unfortunately, I didn't feel spark or connection. I think, good luck, whatever. Yeah. Like that's the nice way to do it. The person doesn't have to deal with rejection head on.
Yeah.
They can delete you and block you. And and if they freak out, you're also safe.
Exactly. This is by Impossible Scene 543. My 39-year-old female boyfriend, 36-year-old male, gives me the silent treatment after a fight. I mean, weeks of not talking. Even uses the eye roll emoji during an argument, which I find extremely annoying, immature, and rude. When we argue in person, he yells at me, punches his desk or the wall, kicks the trash can. Anything he sees nearby, he will suddenly throw, kick, or punch. He also doesn't apologize easily. He's very generous. Often treats me with food or gifts, even though I don't ask for it, and tends to be sweet. When he's angry, he can be quite rude, and he'll bring up everything he does for me. When I refuse sex because I'm tired, he'll tell me I'm being dramatic, and suddenly be pissed. He cheated on me before, but I gave him another chance because I still loved him. We've been together for 6 years, and he's really good in bed, and I have feelings for him, but starting to get old and tiring. Maybe emotionally draining is how I can best describe it? ?
What is your question? Is this guy a piece of shit? Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, let's just go through piece by piece. Sometimes he doesn't talk to me for weeks. Weeks of not talking. Weeks of silent treatment after a fight. If someone didn't talk to me for weeks, they wouldn't be my friend, let alone my partner.
Yeah.
They would be a stranger or an enemy.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I need to know. That's the first sentence.
That's the thing. Does it say their ages?
39 is her and 36 is him.
Grown people. You're
grown adults.
You're grown adults. This is childish behavior I'd accept from teenagers. And by accept, I mean expect and not be surprised. Maybe early 20s.
Even then, if I knew someone when I was 15 who got in a fight with their partner and their partner was like, oh yeah, like we got in a fight and didn't talk for 6 weeks, I'd be like, okay, you guys broke up 6 weeks ago.
I'm not saying it's acceptable. I'm saying that like if you told me that this question was from 15-year-olds, I wouldn't be shocked, is what I'm saying. It's like,
no, but I would still be like, you guys are fucking idiots.
Yeah, 100%.
Because we all do dumb shit when we're young, but this is still so dumb that even at an idiotic 15 level, something has gone wrong. You're adults.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, he fucks up the entire environment. His AoE attacks are devastating.
Yeah.
And like, oh, but he gets me gifts. Oh, but then he uses those gifts in an argument.
The only nice thing you say about him is that he's good in bed and that he buys you food and gifts, which he then weaponizes.
Yeah.
So that's not a plus. The only thing this guy's got going for him is he's good in bed.
Great. Get a vibrator.
I promise you
get a vibrator.
That you could probably find someone as good in bed as this dude who doesn't go into turbo rage mode and
just kick the shit out of your apartment and leave for a month and a half. What are you doing?
This is again, tough love. I'm going into tough love.
That's why I brought this, because this is what we're talking about. And we keep seeing this all the time.
What do you mean? When you wrote that, when you finished writing that, did you like literally, can you think and be like, I'm so lucky. I'm in a good relationship. This guy is good to me.
Yeah.
You wrote nothing but bad things. You wrote a stream of consciousness. I could not do half of that for my partner, right? Like,
it's getting old. Maybe emotionally draining. I'm emotionally drained reading your fucking title.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Like, if I were to do a post similar to this for my current partner, I would have to I would have to reach so far to find things to even get, like, I couldn't ever get anything to an equatable position.
It'd be like, one day they were kind of grumpy.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
Yeah. It's like under understandable circumstances, they had a bad day.
And maybe
once.
I also was kind of tired, so we had an argument.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, this is...
Everything you've said is breakup material by itself.
Yes.
Although I do really like that in the midst of all this really shitty stuff, the eye roll emoji is really important. The least offensive thing, and it's given like probably the most weight.
What do you mean, like when you're texting, or do you just mean he rolls his eyes at you? Because if he's not
I don't
talking
know.
to you,
She says he uses the eye roll emoji during an argument. It must be
he just gets on his phone,
holds it up
and then
to her.
sends it.
Yeah.
Check your phone before we continue this. I need you to look at your phone.
He doesn't even speak. He just holds up his hand and like the phone, like just nods at her, like, hey.
He just takes her phone and puts it through the wall.
Yeah, it's in the other room. He punches his way through the wall to get it.
Yeah.
Break up with this man. This isn't a deep question.
And if you're listening to this and you resonate with this question, break up with your partner.
Break up with your partner.
If you can write a laundry list of all the terrible things that your partner does and describe your current state as emotionally exhausted, you are not in a good relationship.
No. And you can find one, especially like, look at the good things you're listing. Is it just that they spend some money on you sometimes?
Yeah.
Get your own fucking money. Right? Like, go, like, you don't have to deal with this shit. You do have to deal with like capitalism and employment, which is kind of shitty in its own regard, but better than this, weirdly.
That's the thing. Like, I just don't understand why we can have a myriad of terrible things that you recognize as terrible. Yeah. That you can rattle off and then,
and I'll bet this is the tip of the iceberg as well.
Yeah.
Just break up with them. You like, there's nothing better. Like, this is not better than being single.
No.
This is not better than being alone. This is not better than not coming. You know what I mean? Like, you can get a vibrator and you can get a job. You can buy yourself stuff and you can come. Like, that's all he provides. And then you're getting rid of everything else. Yeah. There are so many.
Your garbage can can go weeks upright.
You could have a garbage can for more than a week.
Yeah.
Which will save you money to buy gifts for yourself.
Yeah, you won't have to spend all your money fixing holes and buying garbage cans. Yeah. It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. What are you doing?
This is from Honda Civic, the car.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Hey, bud.
My girlfriend claims that she felt like she was settling for the bare minimum. I drove 2 hours to see her every weekend.
Well, you're a car, so...
Yeah, that's what you do, dude.
Bare minimum.
And I would buy us meals, and I would do her laundry. I would clean and tidy her room for her. I would buy other things for her, and I would drive us. And I asked her to be my Valentine, even though we were dating. I cut off friends that didn't approve of her. I gave her massages. I gave her reassurance. I was patient with her when she got overwhelmed. I tried my best to be there for her when she leaned on me for support, while venting about things only a therapist could help her with. How am I doing the bare minimum? She told me she was learning to treat herself better, and one of the things was buying flowers and replacing them when they die. Does she expect me or any guy to do that? Are we in the Notebook or something? I felt like I really did good, and then she wants a break all of a sudden, talking about how we both have things to work on. It's been over a year. I did stuff like that a lot early on, and I would still do it, just less. Does she expect to have the ground that she walks upon worship for the rest of her life? She couldn't even drive to see me because she always had some excuse, but she could drive to see her friends who lived the same distance.
Okay, she sucks. She's a bad, sucky partner. Also, okay, are you still on the break? What's happening?
There's so much to this where, like, she does seem bad.
Yes.
But you also don't seem great. There's a lot of stuff that, like, there's a lot of...
It's like, weird that you're, like, listing off your checklist almost. And maybe it's just because you've been challenged on it, but it feels a little performative.
Yeah. And, like, one of the things I've noticed a lot recently, and, like, when I've been looking for questions and stuff, is that people seem to think of, like, relationships have gotten so transactional. There's a lot of like, I put in X, I want Y. How do I turn, C into F? How do I, like, everyone seems to think that like it's almost like alchemy. It's like a transmuting, like
baking, you have to.
Yeah, it's like I've done this, but they won't do this. As if there are like ingredients and pieces of a puzzle that like you can shift and move around to like create a balance of like what you want. And it's weird to me because, like you said, like he lists off this stuff. And again, like you are right. He has been challenged with being like, oh, I'm settling for the bare minimum. And like, the only way to sort of like combat it is to
be like, I do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm giving him a little grace there.
Yes. But it also seems like you don't talk about what you get from her. Right? The only thing we know is she won't come visit you.
Yeah. It seems like he's getting nothing from her.
Yeah. So it's like, does she do these things in return? Are you doing these things because you want to? Are you doing these things because those are your instincts? Or are you doing them because you want to be able to say, look at all these things that I'm doing for you?
Like, did you get a list somewhere? And you're like, but I did the list. And it's like, that's where it starts and ends.
Yeah.
And because like doing a thing because you feel like you have to versus doing it genuinely are very different things. But there's no way for us to know in this question. Yeah. My question is, if someone says you only do the bare minimum, did you not ask them what they want you to do more of?
Yeah.
Or where you're falling down? Because you could come to us, as you have, and ask, and I do not know. So there isn't everyone in relationships expects and wants different things. If she feels like you're falling down somewhere, she's the person to ask about where. And again, judging from this question, which again is from your perspective, so maybe it's skewed, it seems like she just wants more, whether or not you're doing less or not. You know what I mean?
I also like if the thing that she says, like, again, I don't know if this is just you hyperfixating on the weird things, where she's like, I'm learning how to take better care of myself, like buying myself flowers and getting rid of the dead ones.
Yeah.
That's not self-care. I mean, it is, but like, the lowest,
you know, her apartment is just full of flower corpses.
Yeah, it's like that's like the surface level of like, I'm gonna do a nice thing for myself. That's like being like, I need to start taking better care of myself.
I need to start not.
I'm going to get a donut once a week because I like donuts. It's like great, but like that really isn't gonna change your world if you really do need to start taking better care of yourself or treating yourself better. A little treat once a week isn't going to change.
Being
much.
like, I'm going to engage in a little bit more consumerism. That's not really it.
It's like maybe like, working out, eating better.
Yeah.
Giving your partner
communication,
more information. Yeah. Like those are the things that I think would. So it's like, it's, as Nal said, it's weird that like, if someone said that to me, if they said like, oh, I want to start treating myself better. It's like, do you feel like I'm not treating you good enough? And if I'm not, what are the things that you're looking for? Like,
or is she just is she like having some kind of breakdown, or like has she been through a bunch of shit and she's finally trying to like take, control of her life or like lead herself in a better direction? Because if so, it feels weird that you're ignoring that and focusing on this, whereas like it seems like she's going through something.
Yeah.
And if she is, maybe you are doing the bare minimum because you're so concerned about your list, but not actually supporting her in this change. Maybe she just sucks and this is a weird excuse of like, oh, we're both going through stuff. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But if you're in this situation and someone's saying, hey, you're not delivering, be like, how? Like, I would love to know like what you are looking for, what I don't do. You know what I mean? And like, that'll kind of give you a gauge on how genuine this is, because if they're just like, you should know, that's not great. If they tell you stuff that you're doing, that is not great. If they tell you stuff that makes sense, cool, you can work on that. Or if they're just like something unrealistic, like take me to a tapas restaurant every day, that's shit. So that will give you the information you need, and hopefully we'll bypass needing to come to us, burning our show to the ground, leaving me and Dane bereft on the streets. But you know what? You'll be happy.
And that's all that we want.
That's it.
That's all we want.
That's it. Uno más?
Yeah, we can do one more.
This is by Achilles. Great to see my boys back in the world.
Yeah.
We had I broke my heart with a dick picture. We had a long distance relationship for 4 months and all was perfect till we were talking about sex and I misunderstood the conversation, thinking she might like that. I find myself blocked by her from all the apps. I tried to text her and she said I disappointed her. Now I'm in pain because I loved her more than she knew. P.S. I know I'm a disgusting person now.
I guess that was his Achilles reel.
Hey-oh!
Got it.
That's very good.
Got it.
Very good. That's it. Just end the show.
I wasn't listening to that question because that's all I was coming up with that bad boy.
Long distance relationship, 4 months.
Okay.
They had a conversation about sex.
Yeah.
He misunderstood the conversation, thought she might like a dick pic, sent her one. She blocked him from all apps. He texted her. She said she's disappointed. Now he's in pain because he loved her so much and he knows he's a disgusting person now.
Yeah. Do we have ages?
We do not have ages.
Because, like, I would understand this, again, teenagers.
Yeah.
Right? I think teenagers, but if you're having a sexy conversation, I do think, I don't think I've ever unsolicitedly sent a dick pic. It's either been requested.
Yeah.
Or
like you've been exchanging pictures that are slowly getting, like, I don't know. Like,
or there have been times where, like, I've mentioned that, you know, they're making me hard or whatever, and I'll be like, go, do you want to, like, you know, do you want to see what you would do? You know, like that kind of thing. So, like,
look what you've done.
Look what you've done. This is your fault. So I understand it is a misstep to just sort of, like, out of the blue send a picture of your dick. It can be very jarring.
Yeah.
Especially depending on, like, how, you know, depending on how long you've been with this person. If you love them, I hope you've been with them for a while.
4 months.
4 months?
But, like, a long distance, I assume it's an online thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I don't know. It's weird to be considered, like, to be disappointed when you're having, I assume, an explicit text conversation, like sexting or something. Like, you could, I understand, like, the idea of being like, hey, like, didn't really want that, and in the future I would, like, warning, or...
That's the thing. There's a difference between, like, a random person, like your boss sending you a dick pic, versus, like, a person you're having a sexual conversation with and you're intimate with and you're dating, and then they send it. You can still be upset, by all means, but, like, it does seem crazy to be, like, dead to me.
Yeah. Because, like, surely the idea, if you're having sexual conversations, is to one day see this penis.
You'd hope so.
In some regard, whether, you know, in a picture or in person or on a camera or something. Like, the idea, if you're getting into a intimate relationship, I imagine, would be eventually a face-to-face meeting with this penis.
Yeah.
So it seems strange to be that upset about it and to treat it as like a burn notice.
Yeah. I will say, though, we should just get this out of the way. We kind of mentioned it, but let's just state it flat out. Just don't send an unsolicited dick pic.
Don't do it.
Just don't do it. You know what I mean? If you want to, do what we just said. Come up with it in a flirty way, or just say it outright.
Yeah.
You know? Or if you have a conversation and you think that she wants to get more sexual, clarify. And then, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there have been times where, like, I've been sexting with someone and I've been like, do you want to pick? And they've been like, I'm actually out with friends right now.
Yes.
And so, like,
anytime I've seen
I'm sneaking little text to you, but I definitely cannot have a dick show up on my phone right now.
I've done that before. I've talked to people, been like, hey, like, if I send you this, are you in a safe place? And they're like, I'm minding my 3 baby cousins. And it's like, what do kids love to do? Grab a fucking phone and run around with it. I don't want my whole junk just flapping around on there. Because as we know, physics work with phones.
That's the greatest thing that's ever happened to us in terms of technology is the physics-based dick pics. You just fucking
that would be actually
that would be incredible. Very funny.
Damn, we should invent that. Don't take that idea. It's copyrighted.
Some AI has already stolen it from us. Thank you very much for listening to the show.
Did we solve that last one?
I think so.
Yeah. Look, if they've cut you off, they cut you off. There's nothing you can do about it. You can say sorry, say you won't do it again, and if they're not willing to be with you, that's fine.
Send her another dick pic with your pipe cleaner arms holding a sign that says, I'm so weak.
Damn, I would forgive you.
With a little hat on it or something. Thanks for hanging out with us for an hour. I was about to say a week.
This was a very long... Yeah, if you're listening to this on minus 1,000 speed.
Yeah. Just really getting that unlocks something for someone.
Yeah.
I bet.
We love you guys. Hopefully nothing dramatic has happened in the past week. Hee ha ha. Oh God.
Ha. It's really the next episode that we have to be worried about.
It's all going to be everything. Yeah. We love you. Thank you, Josh Eagle and the Harvest Seeds, for their song Paper Stars. You ready for some bad sex or anything?
I think so.
This one's about cum.
Good.
There's a book called Kiss of the Basilisk, and this is a segment from it. His cum was something between a liquid and a solid, thick and shiny. A handful of liquefied pearls. It's beautiful, she whispered. Then it is like you.
Hey, girl, you look exactly like my jizz.
You're like my semi-hard spherical jizz.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, like, I know this one's for the boba girlies, right? But like,
don't say boba girlies.
it's for the boba girlies. They want it. That would be bad to have in you.
Yeah.
It would be bad.
I mean, like, I'm trying to think of like the classification of like cum is a mixture of something liquid and solid. I'm like, yeah, like I guess.
Where'd you get this classification from?
But like I don't know how else. Like, it seems weird. Like
It's viscous,
yeah,
sure. But like this is, I believe they're spherical like baubles.
Yeah,
I don't know. It seems bad. I don't want that in my vagina. Thank you.
I don't. Honestly, I don't want it coming out of me.
No, well, maybe it feels nice. If it's got a little chunk to it, maybe like when you're coming, maybe it's almost like getting sounding rod.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good. It probably feels good.
I don't want to think about it.
Maybe I could inject you with something
Please
that will coagulate your ball juice.
My name's Dave Miller.
I'm Niles Payne.
And we've been your fuck buddies.